everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the Kuat NV 2.0 2-bike platform rack right here on our 2019 GMC Acadia. The Kuat NV is probably one of my favorite bike racks. It's definitely a premium rack with all those premium features. So you have that good tilt away, you have that great weight capacity, you have the ability to carry your bikes, and it has a really smooth movement too. So we'll talk about those features, but we are going to focus on our Acadia today. That way you can see what is the best fit for you, your different types of bikes, and your vehicle. First thing we'll look at is a tilt away feature. We have this big lever here. Go ahead and just pull that lever and then let this glide down to a tilt. Now, why would you tilt your bike rack away? If you want to access your hatch. So you can see here on our Acadia, we have clearance between the pedals and the handlebars. It looks like it came close, but it definitely cleared. So now we can reach into our trunk, grab whatever we need. So if we need to get our waters, our helmets, our backpacks, we can grab them real quick and then just close that door. You can see again how close it gets to those pedals and handlebars. And just like that, you lift up, snaps into place, and you're ready to hit the road. This has a weight capacity of 60 pounds per bike. If you have extra heavy electric bikes, this is going to be perfectly fine for that. But what other bikes can you carry with this? Well, as you can see here, we have our longer mountain bike with a wheelbase of 50 inches. This carries that. If you have a carbon fiber frame bike, perfectly fine too. Women's bike, children's bike, step-through bike. Since other bike racks have frame mounts that secure it by the frame, sometimes, like with your carbon fiber frame bike, you'd be worried about warping or scratching. With this, you don't have to worry about any of that. But when you want to take your bike off, you start at the rear wheel strap. You press that lever to disengage the strap. You lift that strap up, and I like to just kind of fold it over to the side so it doesn't get caught up in our spokes. Go over here to the front, hold on to the bike by the frame. You then just press this lever, bring this up, push this out, and just like that you can grab your bike and go on a ride. And if you have the Kuat NV access ramp, you can actually ramp your bike down. So now that the bike is off, we're going to take a closer look at the rack itself. So this rear strap slides back and forth for those different wheelbases. You also have an integrated cable lock on each tray. So this wraps around your bike and secures it and then locks into place. Then over here on the front, we have our front wheel cradle. So notice how we have those different grooves in those cradles. So whether you have your really thin road bike tires or your really wide fat bike tires, this can carry at least one bike of up to 5 inches when it comes to tire width. I talked about how the front wheel mount makes it convenient with different frames and different shapes and sizes, but another thing about this too is that it's really easy to use and you just make 1-2 movements and your bike is strapped down. So this actually has the ability to be added onto. So if you have the 2-inch shank version, you can extend this to up to 4 with the Kua NV add-ons. But on its own at 2 platforms, this does add a fair amount of length to the back of your Acadia. Let's take some measurements to see exactly how much. I'm going to measure from our bumper there to the end of the rack by the trail dock repair stand, and that sits at 31.5 inches. So if you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a really tight spot, that's a measurement to consider. The next measurement is going to be the ground clearance. So I'm going to measure at the end of the rack to the ground, and that sits at 25.25 inches. Compare that to where the shank is, and that is 15.75 inches. Now, what if you're not planning on going out for a bike ride just yet, but you also don't want to take this bike rack off since it is on the heavy side? What you can do is you can fold this up. So remember that lever we pulled earlier? Well, pull that again, but this time lift up on the rack and secure it to the vehicle. So let's take some measurements again here. One measurement, and let's put the strap away so it's all nice and neat. One measurement is going to be closest point, and that's going to be from the bumper to that front wheel mount, and that's 3.5 inches away, so plenty of clearance there. The length it now adds to the back of our vehicle from the bumper to the tray is 8 inches. It sticks further out here by that rattle knob, and that's 14 inches. So big difference compared to when this was folded down. You'll definitely want it in this position when you're just planning on driving around town. You don't need to take your bikes out just yet, but you also don't want to take up too much space. But what's it like living with a bike rack behind your vehicle all the time? Well, notice with this folded up like this, our rear window is completely visible, our taillights are visible as well. Our license plate sits right where that trail dock is, and our backup camera sits above where that trail dock is. What is going to happen is that when you do drive this around, if you need to back up, you'll be able to see the bike rack in your camera. You'll also kind of be able to see the view behind you though. If that's a major issue, just go ahead and bring this in the down position. In fact, notice how I can just step on this lever and then bring the rack down while holding my bike with the other hand. And while we're up here, we have access to the trail dock. So this is going to be part of the Kuat NV 2.0. You swing this out, and that allows you to make repairs to your bike when you're on the trail or even in your garage. So then our Kuat NV has a 2-inch shank that fits right into the 2-inch hitch receiver on our Acadia. You have a hitch pin and a lock on the end. That lock is actually key-like to the cable locks you find at the end of the tray. That way you only need one key to access both your bikes and your bike rack. It's also a tool-free install. You just tighten it down right here, and if you don't have enough strength, you can also just use a tool in the back of your bike rack. That creates an anti-rattle effect. So it extends the ball cam, and that way when you shake the bike rack back and forth, you can see how it's super duper sturdy. The vehicle is moving at this point because everything is locked down. You also saw how sturdy our bike rack was when I tightened it down and I shook it around, but let's take a look at it on the test course. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action, and this will just be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway. So my personal thoughts about this bike rack is it definitely checks off all of those boxes. If you have a heavy electric bike, if you have a step-through bike, a women's bike, if you have a long wheelbase, this is going to be great with that. Now, there are other bike racks that have even more weight capacity, something like the Yakima on-ramp, maybe something worth considering because we have all that ground clearance that we need to cover for lifting the bikes up. So in that case, when paired with the GMC Acadia, I do recommend also picking up the Kuat NV Access ramp. Also, in terms of other options, you have different color options for the NV as well. This is going to be the gunmetal gray with the nice orange accents, but you can get this as a metallic black or even a matte black if you get the Kuat NV base. All of them work the same and are going to be great for different types of bikes, different shapes, and different sizes. And this right here was a look at the Kuat NV 2.0 2-bike platform rack on our 2019 GMC Acadia.